Aligned fam, welcome to another episode. And this is actually a really fun one because for all the Gen Z, millennials, maybe even Gen X's too, or
Yeah.
boomers, are they watching it too?
How old are the boomers
I
again?
don't fucking know. The one
Maybe.
before, the one right before millennials.
That would be boomers. I would say so.
They're
Yeah,
watching
I
it,
would
right?
agree. Yeah, 100%.
I think this is a show, The Summer That I Turned Pretty, where so many generations are learning from it, enjoying it. It's actually beautiful to see how even guys are getting so invested in it. And while the internet may be Team Conrad, Team Jer, and sometimes being a little too aggressive, in my opinion, online, we want to make this episode about the lessons that we've learned about love from the show because there's a reason why we feel so emotionally attached to it. There's a reason why we're binging every Wednesday to catch up and then like creating all these spin-off TikToks and whatnot about it.
Yeah.
So Mayor and I have definitely gone even further from it. So Mariam, how are you feeling so
I'm
far?
feeling great. Still Team Conrad. I'm
Yeah.
biased.
Yeah. It is
so
what it is.
it is what it is, and we're being, graceful. We're being present. We're being honest. So
Right,
I'm
right.
excited to be here.
Amazing.
Okay.
So we are going to dive right in and I think just do a pro list of Conrad and Jeremiah in terms of what they do well, and then con list of what maybe they can improve on, what we've learned about relationships through them. So why don't we start on your favorite, which is Conrad and the pros of Conrad.
Okay, so first and foremost, I am a Conrad girl through and through. So Conrad for me, I would say is just like he's very passionate and I think he's very sensitive and I think that goes a long way, especially with somebody who, can own their own space of being a sensitive individual. And I find that very attractive and I find that very humbling to see and experience.
Okay. Do you feel like he shows his sensitivity enough a bit? Or are you more like season 3 that he starts to show it more?
Season 3, I will say I have a biased perspective coming from the book point of view here, because I grew up on these books. But I would say definitely not in the beginning. You don't see it.
Right,
He's
right.
reading this. You're not sure about what he wants, what his intentions are.
Right.
But I would say definitely season 3, him being vocal, him being honest with himself. Whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
amazing.
I agree. I agree. I think a beautiful quality about Conrad is he is extremely well, again, season 3, because season 1's different. He's more reliable and responsible. And in the season, you really get to see how he's grown into his own. Even there are times when he's dying inside, he still wants to be there for Belly. So it's beautiful to see just a man who's like responsible, reliable. And I love all the TikToks about how like Daddy Conrad, and it's crazy how we're all freaking out over a damn watch and like the way he dresses in black. I don't get it. But
mind you, he's like what, at 20 something?
He's young, yeah.
He's young.
It's so funny. So yeah, I think the responsible side of Conrad is also a huge plus.
Exactly.
What are some other pluses that you see?
I would say his thoughtfulness. So ties right into it. I think he was very much there for Belly in season 3.
Yeah.
Like, mindful that she wasn't eating, that she wasn't
Yeah.
things, and helping bridge the relationship between. Oh my God, I'm sorry, it's been a day.
Okay.
Bridging the relationship between her and Laurel.
Yeah.
It's really great. So.
That's a good one. I think the other one where the last thing I want to highlight a pro Conrad is he is extremely romantic, and I'm going to speak for myself and tell me if you agree. I feel personally that he brings back the pure romance when you were like younger, before sex was involved, before like I think being overly sexualized as a woman was a part of like our DNA and how we had to show up ourselves. It reminded me of like when my first crush or even first love was so pure. Like you never see Conrad trying to pressure her into like sexual things. Like it's a little thing he does, like starting the fire for her, and like little tiny micro moments when they were in season 3, having that reenact of the Notebook scene where they're just drinking and laughing together, right? He does make every moment feel so romantic. Like even the most mundane.
There we go.
Thank you. Can't speak English. The most mundane things fun and romantic. So I think that's a huge.
I 100% agree. As somebody who read the books, just kind of seeing the gestures he extended towards Belly growing up. Like he didn't love Belly, and that's something that goes right into Jer. So later on, but like he always loved her for who she was when she was, braces. We all been through that. So just understanding like he loved her through and through, like as they age, but he didn't really vocalize it. but he loved her for her. And I think at the root of it, it's
Yeah.
more than looks. It's more than just the superficial
Yeah.
aspects. It's the deepness of it.
100%. Like all the quirks, he sees through all of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Two things I just want to highlight when it comes to Conrad and just seeing how social media has gone crazy about Conrad, right? It's so funny that I mean, it seems like the internet's more pro Conrad, and that's because you actually get to see his perspective, right?
Yes.
Like in season 3, he narrates, and it just shows like when you actually hear someone's perspective and you get to like feel the empathy for them, you actually find that person more attractive. I guarantee if you heard Jeremiah's perspective, you'd have a lot more girlies team Jeremiah. Or even Belly, right? Like your team Belly because it's narrated by her. But were you going to say something? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, not. I still would be Team Jeremiah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm biased. I'm
Right.
biased, but I would say 100% because growing up in the books, like I read them when I was like 10, 11, around that age, and so like kind of seeing her perspective, like I was like, this girl is dumb. What is she doing?
Yeah.
I didn't give her enough grace, and I think during the shows, rewatching, rereading it, I'm like, she deserves grace, and I think that goes into okay, this is a coming of age story.
Mhm.
You're supposed to make mistakes. You're supposed to learn who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard when you're surrounded by individuals that want to be a part of your life. It's like you have to understand your oneness.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I would add. But agreed, when you hear someone's perspective and their actual emotions that are tied to it, it's so different. Like you don't know them.
100%. The other thing I find hysterical is everyone's always like, oh my God, Conrad's so broody. Like he's so in love with her after 4 years, right? In real life, if you met someone like that, okay, most of your friends or your girlfriends would be like, bro, that's desperate. You should move on, right? Like, why is he still not over it? Like, why is he still brooding? The other thing is, in season 3, you get to see how Conrad's just always, like to your point, like making sure she's ate, little details, like changing his whole plan for the week, like ending his potential internship just to stay with her, right? He does so much that he gives to her, like so selflessly, that I guarantee you, every single woman watching this right now has someone in their life currently or in the past who's doted after them, and we just friend zone them, right? We just think like, oh, like he's always good. We take them for granted. So I hope for the girlies who are like completely romanticizing Conrad, look at your life, look at the men in your life, and whether it's past or present, and think like, who was actually truly always there for you that you've overlooked?
100%. And I think like even with his broodiness, right? I think it was present. That was his kind of attitude towards a lot of things. But he really did sacrifice a lot for her.
Yeah.
Like even going to the storyline, right? He gave up Belly. Gave up Belly for Jeremiah because he's like, okay, I will trust her with my brother. But he wanted to give her what's best for her, and not him. But then it's like you learn more and you learn and understand their storylines. But just like he's always thinking about her, which to your point. But also in the books was a little bit different. He did date. It just he struggled with it, where he's like, it's not Belly. I don't feel anything.
Got it. 100%. And hopefully Conrad shows women, especially in season 3. I don't want to talk about the other seasons, not that great.
Yeah.
Like there's beauty in the guy who's not just showering you with words, but with actions, and who actually shows up for you, right? Like who's literally changing his life to be in your life or around you. It's just be aware of that. Maybe that's more a clear sign of love than someone who's just like, oh my God, you're so hot. Like I'd do anything for you, and then you're not really there.
Right? No, 100%. I feel like it goes right to that point where it's like, if he wanted to, he will.
Exactly. So if he wanted to, he would. Girl.
Effort.
Right?
And it's there.
It's there. Well, that said, let's move over to your least favorite part, the pros of Jeremiah. Do you want to start?
So I will say his first pro, I will give it to him, is he's very charismatic. He's very bubbly. He's very personable. And I think that is what draws a lot of people to Jeremiah. And then Belly herself is drawn to Jeremiah for that reason.
Yeah. Another thing is he does communicate. So even when he cheats, right, he was like, I'll tell you anything, like ask me anything. And I think when you see a lot of women who like go back to people who cheat on them, right, they're like always going through the cycle. Chances are there's like a level of this guy asking for apology or like splitting himself. Like there's some sort of communication. It goes back to our point earlier where it's like, you actually have more empathy for people when you understand their perspective, right? So I think Jer really shows the power of being present and communicating versus I feel like Conrad, there are times when because he didn't communicate, people thought he was being distant. People like Stephen thought he just disappeared from everyone's life when he was actually suffering on the inside. So I think the importance of sharing your feelings is what Jer shares.
100%. And I would say, like, for me, communication is key. It's
Yeah.
literally a non-negotiable. So it's like when you communicate, you allow someone to feel seen. So if you don't feel seen, this goes back to the whole piece of like not understanding somebody.
Yeah.
It's like knowing Jeremiah's perspective, knowing Conrad's perspective, you don't know what they don't know. Like, they're not speaking out. You could hear their inner thoughts in some chapters, for example, in the books.
Yeah.
But not until they actually speak up.
100%. The other thing I love about Jer and Belly is they're best friends. And I truly believe, and just not from me, from like what I see successful relationships have last through the test of time, there's a core baseline true friendship. And I also feel like that's why they cut each other some slack. They both hurt each other, let's be clear, right?
Yeah.
They've done some shitty ass things to both of each other, but they can go get past it because like underlying there's some level of trust.
Exactly.
Right, between the two. Anything else about Jared? You Jared out?
I'm Jared out, but
Okay.
at the same time, I was like, you know what, fine. I give him the communication because honestly, like, I'll emphasize that one point one more time. It's just communication is everything. You could be the most perfect person, Conrad, my boy Conrad, but he didn't communicate until season 3. So it's just like I will give Jared that. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it for me.
100%. Because we want to know where we stand with you. Exactly. And we can't if we don't know what the hell's going up in here, right? Yeah. All right. Now, your least favorite part, Conrad's cons.
Conrad's got bad communication.
Girl! Yeah.
He needs to speak up. And so, like, legitimately, like, okay, we all love that scene where, like, I need you, I love you, I respect you. Okay, everybody was so mean to Belly. I have to say, give the girl some grace. That's all she wanted to hear her whole life. And then she did hear it, and she's having all these mixed feelings. But let's going back to Conrad. He needs to communicate. He needs to speak up for himself. He needs to be consistent. So the communication consistent. So that's the thing. The
other thing is avoidant. I love the scene when he's with the Stanford colleague. Agnes. Yeah. And she's basically like, you can keep running from your feelings, I'm paraphrasing, but you can't outrun them. One day they're going to run you, right? 100%. So I think that was when she's such a beautiful person in his life that was kind of like woke him up. Mm-hmm. But I think the fact that he was avoiding his true feelings, suppressing it, right? Pretending like he's fine when he's not. Like the number of times he would declare his love for Belly and then take it back. That is the like the hot and cold thing. I think that's why I was so team Jer, because I was like, as someone, and every woman's been through this, right? This hot and cold. It's fun and games when you're young, but at a certain age, you're like, I don't feel safe. It's so bad for my nervous system. And like, this is not what like a partner should look and feel like. Someone who's like so in love with you the next day and then like goes completely cold. You can't build with that foundation.
No, and even like in certain scenes, like he just at night he said yes, and then the morning he's like, nope, I was just kidding.
Exactly. So many times.
Insanity. Even I was like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Exactly. So. Self-sabotaging. Yeah. Any other cons for Conrad? I know it's hard for you.
It's hard for me because I love him.
I know.
I was like, that was my guy.
Well, think about it this way. I'll give you that. Yeah. What is it? Think about you dating Conrad. What would drive you insane? Anything else that would drive you insane about
bad communication. And
right.
Like for me, it's like the bare minimum to any relationship, even like romantic, non-romantic, whatever.
Right, everything.
It's mutual effort and good communication. So it's like he wasn't giving both. So like I'll give him that fine.
Yeah.
He works on it in therapy. So
you did.
Again, it's about giving the effort. Like Belly tried.
Yeah.
Like everyone was flipping out about the prom scene, about the corsage, and it's just like she put the effort in trying to communicate, and I understand, and I feel for him, and I understand like he was having a lot of feelings. He had a lot of things going personally. Again, his mother was dying, but I think it's just about speaking up.
Yeah.
So you can't do it. Speak
100%.
Up, so.
100%. I think one last thing is, I think a lot of very selfless people or people who like to put others before themselves could benefit from this point. By being selfless, at some day you're going to explode and become uber selfish. So Conrad has been bottling up his feelings for 4+ years. And honestly, to declare his love for Belly the day before his brother's wedding is so fucking selfish. Like, I'm glad you did that. Go.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I want to give him some grace. He was bottling it up to your
Yeah.
point where it's like it's gonna explode, and I think that goes back to like suppressing your emotions.
Yeah.
But in his defense, he found out he cheated on her, so it's like he kind
Fair.
of, not that again, she's not like a thing for him to give or
Right.
take, but more in the sense he trusted
Fair.
her with Jer, and Jer cheated on her. So when he found that out, he's like, "Why am I going to give up my love and
Right.
like not declare and speak up?" It was like his last. What was this Taylor Swift song? You know, when she's like, "Speak now."
Yeah.
So speak now, forever hold your peace.
I think this is why it's helpful when you've read the books, which is I've only watched the TV shows, right? Because I don't get the inner dialogues and all that stuff. But I hear you. I'm just, the whole point of which we're agreeing on is if you don't speak sooner,
100%.
you're going to bottle up, it's going to blow up, and it's going to be way worse. Like everything that you thought you were doing right, you're going to completely undo, right?
100%.
Because he did blow up the wedding. He ruined a lot of really, like, it didn't have to go down that way. Like I know those are pro Conrad. We're like, oh my God, yeah, he found something. It, like on the outside, it looks fucking insane. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Because even when people were, again, going back to that whole beach scene where he declared her love, everyone's like, "Belly, how could you think that?" And I was like, this girl's been waiting for that declaration for years, and then she got it in that moment. And like, what do you expect her to do?
Give up her entire life that she's built the last 4 years. Yeah.
And then also, if you notice, like through the books and the shows, they actually did a really great job demonstrating it. Is every time they saw each other, they fell back in love.
Yeah.
It was always there.
It was always there.
Both of them. The avoidant. They're both avoidance in a way.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think going back to it, it's just like it was valid. He had a moment where it's like he needed to speak up, and
yeah,
so I don't fault him for it.
Yeah. So those are all the cons for Conrad, and then let's wrap this section with your favorite, which is all the cons for Jer.
Literally, Jer. I will say first and foremost, he's a man child.
Explain. Don't label.
Okay, sorry. And you know, I should have been more cautious with labels because we all learn and develop, but I haven't seen his development. So
damn. All right.
What is it? Like mic drop? There you go.
Yeah.
But essentially, from my perspective, is I think he's not that mature. I think like the reason why he wanted Belly, to your point, is not that he was a deeper person, but the whole context is like, okay, this 1 year she hit it where it's like, okay, I'm beautiful, I feel seen, I will be seen by people, like attractiveness. That's when Jeremiah came in, because he started seeing her for like her attractiveness, and also because Conrad was so in love with her. He's like, I want that. And I think it was a bit of a competition in my perspective as somebody who read the narrative
right.
And Conrad. So I have, again, a biased perspective, but also the perspective of their inner thoughts a little bit more. But all in all, I just think he wasn't that mature. I don't think he was ready for marriage. And again, he was like 20 something.
Yeah.
He was not ready for marriage.
Yeah, I think your point, like about him calling him a man child, is like he was rushing the wedding, rushing a lot of things. It felt like the proposal came out of nowhere without even asking for like the mom's hand in marriage. You know, I think if he did all those steps, part of me feels like he kind of rushed it because he probably already knew that it wasn't, people would be supportive of it, right?
100%.
Just trying to force it. So I think what my con for Jared is, you can't force your ending if the other person doesn't feel the same way. And Jer always knew that she's gonna have feelings for Conrad. A piece of her heart will have him. And like she's tried to keep them separate once they were together, right? Mm-hmm. I just really believe in love, or anything, opportunities in life, but since we're talking about love, the more you hide how you really feel, or the more you try to force something to happen, it will all undo and all unravel, right? Mm-hmm. Like at some point, if two people are supposed to be together, there's nothing else you can do to try to stop it. So I think it's like, wouldn't you want someone to choose you first? I think that's why Jared gets so upset. It's like, you're constantly choosing people that are not choosing you first.
Yeah. And I can't help but think like, okay, that's very triggering to him, especially since he's the second child. And again, that father dynamic that he had with Adam was that Adam, prided himself and saw himself in Conrad. Conrad didn't like that. He kind of cut his dad off. That's like football, did a bunch of different things throughout the series. But I think for Jared, it's like he wanted to make up for the fact that he was a second child. He was not his dad's pride and joy.
Right.
And like trying to do things right? Like even so, the book and the show is very different about why he proposed.
Oh, okay.
So in the show, it was done beautifully. Like I was like, okay, that's a valid thing. But in the books, he kind of sped it up. He's like, let's fix it by getting married to show you that I'm loyal. But that's not how you fix cheating.
Right.
That's in my opinion. Again, I've never been in that situation, so maybe I can't fully speak on it. but that's not how it works.
Yeah.
And so he rushed it and trying to fix it. And even like the wedding, it's like they could have waited a year. They could have waited more time. He did it in a month. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think those are the cons for Jer. But I think one point I want to highlight is there's more for Belly, right? It's so clear that you can choose a relationship because it feels more safe, it feels more comfortable. Your heart's not ripped out of your chest, right? And I think that's what she has with Jer. And there's like this, they have a deep love, but it's a little bit more shallow. Or you can go for that true soulmate person who like you completely lose control with when you're with, right? And I think ultimately life is about choices, but something to ask yourself is, are you choosing this person because you feel safer and they're not challenging you to go deeper?
Yeah.
Or you truly find this person is your soulmate, the person you're supposed to be with?
People, a few people said online, TikTokers here. So basically that Jer was like the perfect college boyfriend. So having that experience, because she had a lot of experiences, so I'll give him that.
Right.
But more in the sense of, again, it's that moment was great. Yeah. That was for her development.
Yeah.
But I think it's ultimately understanding when we think about our lives and think about alignment. If we really think about like what do we want a partner, what do we see? Like I wouldn't want that in a long-term partner. Yeah. So being mindful of that. And when you're not in alignment, to your point, it's gonna unravel eventually. So back in.
And even like when they were rushing and she was basically planning the wedding all by herself, right? Yeah. Sometimes there are a lot of people who have this thought like, oh, I already planned the wedding. I already said yes, right? The things that happen leading up to your wedding tells you a lot about that person and what they're going to be like when you're going to build a life with them, right? It's never too, I mean, first of all, you can always get divorced, but like, why don't you save yourself the heartache, the money, and the trouble? And like, even leading up to it, ask yourself, like, is this the person for me? Yeah. Right? And there's so many moments when like Belly knew it's not him, it's Conrad. She's trying to force herself through it. Mm-hmm. It's just going to unravel.
Yeah. And you're going to hurt those around you.
100%. 100%. So be honest with yourself, align with who you really are to find your true partners. All right, let's talk about some lessons in love. I think this is the fun part, right? Yes. Now that we've dissected the pros and cons of both of them and what they represent, Mariam, what's a lesson that this show has taught you?
My first lesson is speak up, because all in all, it's like no one ever knows what's in your head, in your heart. So it doesn't matter unless you actually speak up and make it matter. Mm-hmm. So I think we've seen that time and time again throughout each of the seasons. Like Jer was in a relationship with Belly because he spoke up. He made the intention. He actually made an impact. Yeah, I'm giving him so much praise here. But Conrad, suffered because he didn't. So I think at the end of the day, nobody knows what you're thinking, and you need to use your damn words.
Yeah. So. Adding to that, one thing I want to say is it's not nice guys finish last, it's quiet guys finish last. Mm-hmm. So to that point. Okay. Other thing is, it reminded me the purity and beauty of just true love. And it's really the micro moments, like them sitting by the fireplace together, laughing over dumb shit, like even at Michael's. I think this series did a really good job of like reminding us it's always the little things versus like Jared's on the football or whatever team and I think he's super attractive. Like there's so many things that it's like on paper they went to college together, they're best friends, right? The on paper love is not going to get you through life's challenges up and down. Even the scene when they're discussing the cake, right? And Conrad going through being very logical, but like that was like partner daddy showing up versus Conrad just was depicted to be more of like a spoiled brat, right? Yeah. So yeah, I would say
or vice versa.
Sorry, Jeremiah, yeah.
So I think the point.
Always, but yeah, I think it's the reminding us what love really is. Yeah. I think that the show does a really good job. It's like yes, you need to speak up, but also be more cognizant for when people do things for you that they don't have to shower you with words. Like be more cognizant of how people are showing up in your life.
100%. And even like the moments when she was so upset about Laurel, like Jared was like, okay, like, he didn't really take that step further and try to reconcile. Like he was like, that is what it is, like move on. But like Conrad was so thoughtful, like he took the time and like set up with Laurel, and he realized Laurel wasn't eating either. Yeah. So he's like mindful of again the whole responsible piece of him and his personality. Is he's so mindful. So him taking the time to cooking for her, she might not eat it. She didn't a few episodes. Yeah. But it's just like for him, he wanted to make sure she was fed, that she was hydrated, that she was healthy.
Yeah.
And it's the little things. That's going to take you far.
Yeah. What's another lesson in
I would
love or life?
say, you can never force a dynamic. All in all, it's like, you could have these feelings. You could be friends with somebody and think, okay, again, Jared crossed the list, right? And, this might be repetitive, but he checked everything, right? But at the end of the day, it's that moment of who's going to help you go through the death of your parents. Because that's one thing that I learned recently. Somebody always asks, like, whoever you marry or, whoever's your partner, all in all, if your parents are still alive, they're going to take you through the death of your parents. And that's like one of the hardest things you could go through in life. So adding on to that, I think that's so intentional. Like, who would you actually see like being there for you?
Right. I love that. At the arcade scene, I think season 2 was it?
Yeah.
When they're all going to play together, I loved that because again, while they were like going to lose the house, right? Susanna passed away like not too long ago. There was so much grief. They were still able to find joy and have fun in that day. And I think like being in that arcade scene, the way they filmed it, I really felt like I was a part of it, right? So it reminded me like there's always fun possible every single day. Are you maximizing it? Are you looking at it? Are you making, even when they were studying together for his Stanford test, right?
Yeah,
that was so fun. And it made me think about like college, like it was fun studying with friends. We would do these study cards and whatever. So whatever life mundane thing you think you have to do, how can you make it fun? How can you enjoy it more people around you?
I love that. And I'm a firm believer. It's like living the moment, saying yes to things, really putting yourself out there. Because I feel like when I've started doing that recently in my personal life, and it's just so much fun because you like make the craziest connections. You learn like so many different things, and you're just living life, and it's like fulfillment, right?
Right. And you're flowing versus like complaining, oh, I have to do this or that. It's like, I get to do this and I get to do it with cool people and people that I choose to.
And one other thing I would add is that when you open it, it's like that scarcity mindset, right? You're removing yourself from a scarcity mindset, so you're opening yourself to opportunities. But I think just generally, not even specific to the characters and their storyline, but just again, giving yourself the opportunity to grow and learn.
Yeah, love that. And I think last thing I'm gonna bring up is, I mean, a lot of the show, Taylor, so Steven and Taylor.
Oh, I was like, wait, who is this?
Yeah.
I am a fan.
They are, I just love their dynamics so much of how they've gotten through like awkward moments and they started dating and then they all this stuff, right? I think the beautiful thing, and kind of back to the point about like when that's your person, you can kind of go through anything and go through it and end up at the same place. The scene in the hospital when he got hurt, and she lost her shit crying, right? I think it's moments like that reminds you that what you leave unsaid, right? And again, you can run from your feelings as much as you want, but you're actually physically going to end up hurting yourself and other people.
Literally, that's literally what happened.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to me because again, I read the books that didn't happen in the books.
Like
an accident.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And that's what triggered also the proposal. So like going into that, but you're right. Like she was so upset and just seeing her acting is phenomenal.
Yeah, she's such a good actress. She's so cute.
But yeah, literally in that moment, like they both knew what they were feeling and they didn't say
it, right? And then they had to go through another girl to eventually get to the same fucking place. So
at least they were endgame technically.
They are. Yeah, for sure. Any other lessons you want to highlight?
I would say, I think at the end of the day, again, this is a coming of age storyline. So I think we all struggle, individually to authentically present ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to the communication piece and also just navigating who you are. Because one thing about Belly that I've noticed, and just again, kind of sitting my thoughts after rereading the series, is she was always around other people. So that meant she was always around Jared, Steve, and Taylor. She didn't really have a moment to herself to be herself and find out who she was.
True.
She was at school with Jared too. So that for me, that's where I found myself, and I think I developed the most. So I think like give yourselves the chance to sit with yourselves, not be in a relationship, and just really understand what do you even want. Yeah. And I think that's what I hope to see in the next few episodes that are coming out. So I haven't watched it yet, but
I'm excited. I love it. Now we have some reflections or challenges for the audience, given the fact that, okay, great. You watch a show, you cry, you learn, you laugh, but then like, let's apply it to our own life. I feel like every day we can learn from things, especially from TV shows and from movies. So I think first reflection or challenge for you is, who do you need to have an honest conversation with when it comes to your love life? right? Is there an apology? Is there just an expressed emotion? Or if things are not in a good place between you and your ex, right? Maybe it's just writing them a letter. But like, what is something you're still holding on to that's literally tainting all your future relationships, whether in your love life, in your work life, whatever it may be? It's like until you heal that one thing that's kind of holding you back, it's always going to be this weight on your shoulders. So who in your love life do you need to have an honest conversation with? That's our first challenge.
That's a phenomenal challenge.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, I'm taking it back.
Yeah, yeah,
Let me think about this. It's like, what day of the week is it? It's
Yeah.
a Wednesday. Where are we going to these deep thoughts?
It's actually timely for you, so
Oh my god.
you don't have to answer it.
No,
Just for them.
yeah, just for them.
Yeah.
This is for you guys.
Yeah, you
know what I
should.
mean?
Not you.
Yeah.
You should remember that when you drive after this. Okay.
No, literally.
What's the challenge or reflection you have?
I would say, again, going back to the healing piece, right? So like, how can you try, and I love this because I've been working on a lot of inner child things, but it's like, how can you challenge that inner child self to create miracles where anything is possible?
Yeah,
So it's impossible.
I love that.
It's about being really in tune with yourself and your wants. And again, going back to that scarcity mindset that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, what do you want out of life? Do you want more for yourself? Or are you being dishonest with your needs right now and understanding exactly how can you fulfill that?
Yeah.
So for Belly, she paused on that relationship. She's single right now, as we know it. And again, it's about who are you? What do you want? And what's your inner child telling you? So
I love that. The arcade scene inspired this challenge. What are some must-do things in your life that you could change into like a fun experience, right? It could be like, for example, when you're cleaning. I love when I have to clean. Like I love to put on a podcast and I get to like binge all the things I've been wanting to listen to, right? Or like, what are some like even when for example, there are times I have to like review expenses, like things I don't want to do. I'll like put on a show. I'll put on certain things to make it fun, or like making a game and like, how much money can I squeeze out of this? Like, how much money can I like make out of this? So it's like, how can you make something that's so technically boring more exciting for you? That's a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like recently, even just thinking about this is really cool because that was something you told me about, something like unrelated, but more in the sense of how can you make things enjoyable. I really lied to myself and told me I love ab workouts because that'll get me to the habit. There's nothing that excites me more. Like there's no reason why I should be excited about this circus ab workout that I'm about to do. But it's like literally lying to yourself to get yourself in the mood.
But it feels so good after, right?
I did like 10 minutes today and I was like, whoa, I'm on fire. But
so
literally,
cute.
it's like lying to yourself. It helps.
I love that. And then a final challenge or reflection that you may have?
Yeah, so I would say, I know we talked about, so what do you need, this is kind of tying to the first challenge, but what do you need to let go of? Not necessarily a person, but like mindsets and perspectives that you have. So I think like with trauma, right? Some of us could have triggers about not feeling good enough.
Yeah.
What do you need to do that work, or just like letting go of those thoughts so that you could be authentic and be receptive to love and affect them and just those relationships, romantic and unromantic. Like what's holding you back in terms of your mindset? Not necessarily a person or a conversation, but really the mindset and the themes and ideas that you have about yourself internally.
Yeah, I love that. It's kind of like when you have like a dirty pipe, right? And it's gunked up, right? You can pour all the good, healthy stuff through it and clean water, but it's like, it's not really, until you clean that gunk out, it's always going to taint and damage the water coming in, right? So,
yeah, 100%.
I love that. Well, thank you, Mariam.
Thanks for having me.
I hope this makes you guys excited to watch the remaining season and just reflect on the themes. It's obviously always fun just to watch a movie, watch a show, but there's so much that we can learn through other people. So hopefully that inspires you guys to take a good look at your love life and make it the way that you want it to be.
Exactly. 100%. Jenny Han, do us proud, please.
Thank you.